When you think of Breitling, Panerai and Hublot, the last thing that comes to mind is the humble dress watch. All three brands are known best for their bold, chunky statement pieces, large in both presence and diameter. But what if they decided to make something worn with a suit rather than ripped jeans? That's what we're here to find out. For decades, the dress watch has been considered the epitome of the wristwatch. Trace the origins of the wristwatch back to the early 20th century, and it's the dress watch that dominates. Small, svelte, subtle. It was a reflection of the time. Resources were scarce, money was tight, flamboyance discouraged, and so the wristwatch affected its purest form. 2 hands, a simple dial, a case the size of a penny and as thick as one too. A plain leather strap would bind it in place to remain hidden under a cuff until required. It was a marked evolution from the ostentatiousness of the pocket watch, a divide between the society of old and new, one that had learned through hardship to want for nothing and appreciate all it had. But there was one luxury that the wristwatch could be afforded without breaching this austerity: gold. And so it remains today. As the last memories of the generation that saved wrapping paper and had a bag of bags under the sink fade, it's gold that remains the only link between those original dress watches and the ones we have here. As Breitling demonstrates with the Transocean Chronograph, whilst the diameter has been reversed from a traditional 34mm to a sizable 43, it's the touch of gold that lends an elevated sense of class to an otherwise emphatic design. There's no cuff less than Liberace's that will hide this watch. There's 3 times the hands you would comfortably expect. And the simple prospect of showing just the hours and minutes is outnumbered by the inclusion of the seconds, a chronograph and the date as well. This wasn't a dress watch, but now it is. How times and tastes have changed. It would be bold of Breitling to ask for over £16,000 for this watch without fitting it with the in-house caliber B01, and so it has. Don't take my word for it. In true non-dress watch fashion, the movement is visible through the caseback. You get 70 hours of power reserve and a column wheel chronograph, and the whole thing is sealed to 100 meters. Do all these features collectively result in a dress watch? If it were 100 years ago, no. But it's really a case not of the watch, but who wears it. And if you choose to wear a 43mm gold Breitling with a dinner suit, then so be it. Being based on the largest watch Panerai has ever made, the 60mm 1956 Egiziano, is a very unlikely way to introduce a dress watch, but nevertheless, that's how it is for this Luminor Submersible in black and gold. It's a full-on dive watch that's been given the gold treatment, and at 42mm and with a bulbous ceramic bezel, it is a long way shy of meeting the traditional criteria for a dress watch. But here's the thing about gold. It has an indulgent quality about it that softens harsh edges, shrinks grand proportions. The infatuation with gold is of course no new thing. The rich colour and sparkling finish found in the most precious of objects across the world for thousands of years. And being rare as well as beautiful means that gold has just as long been used as a sign of wealth and prosperity. This makes anything fashioned in gold both mesmerising and divisive, drawing equal measure of admiration and jealousy. Okay, so we're not quite talking the one ring here, but wars have been fought over this stuff, such is its power over people. Even though we'd like to think we've grown up a bit as a species since, even now there's still a primal instinct at work when gold is present. And so it became a feature of the dress watch, a person's best watch, as an indication of finery and quality and status. So when this Panerai Luminor Submersible was reimagined in gold, it took on more than just a new colour and some extra weight. It shifted personalities, inherited a new duty. It's no longer a watch to accompany a dive. It would be a strange sight to see someone in full scuba gear wearing one of these. Its home is now the red carpet, a daring addition to an equally daring ensemble worn by the kind of person known for doing things a bit differently. Does that make it any less of a dress watch? I don't think so. It's certainly not traditional, I think we can all agree on that. But things evolve. There was a time when the wristwatch itself was regarded with contempt, but as time ticked on, it has since earned its place as a hallowed and sentimental transition into adulthood. What does this tell us? That we should always be open to change. The last and largest suspect in our trio comes courtesy of the least likely candidate for dress watch manufacture, Hublot. You may well roll your eyes, but here we are yet again, a gold watch with black detailing for what is probably the most traditional design of the three. Particular care has been given to round off the sides of the case and the pushers for a more delicate touch than most Hublot owners are used to, and once again the gold warms and softens what would otherwise be a particularly industrial design. It's big, it's imposing, especially with the H-screws in the bezel. It certainly seems a long way removed from the delicate, understated dress watches of old. But let's not take this in isolation. We're talking about generations of people who chose to wear a shirt and tie when they were mooching around at home. People who wore suspenders to keep their socks neat under their trousers. This, in an age where CEOs parade on stage in chinos and a t-shirt, seems so antiquated, so why would we be so stuck on the dress watch? Perhaps there's a sense of out with the old and in with the new about it. Acceptance of something you don't understand or care for can feel a little like the thing you do understand and care for is being replaced. But as is evidenced by the onslaught of vintage reissues abounding the watch fairs, I don't think that's a genuine concern. After all, in the grand scheme of things, how dichotomous are these watches and the ones we look so fondly upon, really? At a stretch, they're still just two ends of the same branch. Apples and oranges, more like apples and slightly bigger, slightly more complex apples. The ultimate question, really, is why does it bother us so much when someone likes something we don't? Are we concerned for their tastes, or are we threatened about ours? For every person who sees these watches and decries the downfall of true watchmaking, another looks at simple sub 40mm watches and wonders why anyone would wear something so tiny and so boring. It's a matter of perspective, and when perspective's concerned, the broader, the better. A narrow view of things is always obscured. You've either reached this point and wondered why we dare give these monstrosities the time of day, or alternatively enjoyed what you've seen and hope to see more. Neither point of view is right or wrong, and that's what makes the dress watch so arbitrary. You'd have a hard time diving with a pilot's watch, but a dress watch. Make of it what you want and let others do the same. What I find myself wondering isn't, are these dress watches? More, why are they not? There's no ISO standard, no official metrics to contain the definition, no expectation other than merely a watch that a person would proudly wear at a formal function. Chiefly, the inclusion of gold goes a long way to emphasising the opulence of a watch, as it always has done. That alone is timeless. But the rest? Well, as they say, beauty is in the eye of the credit card holder. Discover more exceptional watches at Watchfinder. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If there are any other watches you'd like to see reviewed, please let us know in the comments below.